Hello and welcome. The government's Citizenship Amendment Bill, which has been cleared by the Cabinet and is all set to be tabled in Parliament next week, is dangerous and divisive. Much has been said and written about that. But tonight we focus on a less reported aspect of the bill, that it may also be a hoax. What do we mean by that? Well, the bill proposes to grant citizenship to illegal migrants only from non-Muslim faiths who have escaped religious persecution from three neighboring countries, Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan. So Hindus, Buddhists, Christians, Sikhs, Parsis and Jains who may have crossed over illegally can get citizenship, Muslims can't. Put simply, the bill plays into the BJP's political frame of a party that protects Hindus under threat. Specifically, the bill is meant to protect Hindus who've been excluded from Assam's National Citizens Register. As we know, 19 lakh people were excluded from the register. A good number of them are believed to be Hindu, something which has politically embarrassed the BJP. But the government itself appears to be hugely skeptical if it can achieve these goals. The devil, as a report in scroll.in first pointed out, is always in the detail. And the detail in this case is to be found in this report of a joint parliamentary committee set up to examine the first version of the bill which was tabled earlier this year. In it, the claim that non-Muslims will get citizenship is called into question because they'll have to show that they're victims of religious persecution, something which government agencies deporting before the panel indicates will be highly complex. This is what the Intelligence Bureau has told the panel. Individuals claiming religious persecution entered India decades ago. Not possible to verify their claim now. Recent illegals will have to provide documents as proof. If persecution claim is not supported by documents, the case will be referred to foreigners' tribunals. If the persecution declared at the time of arrival, it's difficult to prove now. RAW, our external agency, will have to probe these claims of religious persecution. The IB also said that about 31,000 people from minority communities are likely to be the immediate beneficiaries. In other words, they have said, quote unquote, only a small number will benefit. Let's examine the second claim being made by the BJP. They claim the bill will protect the non-Muslims left out of the NRC. But the fact is, not all that are excluded from the NRC are religious refugees from neighboring countries. Many Hindu communities in the Northeast are internal migrants. Migrants from North India are unlikely to be then protected by the Citizens Bill. How will these North Indians and Assamese excluded from the NRC prove that they are victims of religious persecution from those three countries? As a case in point, when we traveled to Assam earlier this year to report on those let out of the National Citizens Register, we visited a district in Assam where a large number of Hindus had been excluded. Several of them weren't from Bangladesh. Let's watch. All here have fled religious persecution, like this family, which has come from eastern Uttar Pradesh. तो ससुर कहाँ से आए थे? कहाँ मतलब?
गाजीपुर से।
बिहार से आए थे? गाजीपुर या बिहार से? गाजीपुर तो उत्तर प्रदेश में है। गाजीपुर से आए थे। अच्छा, तो उसका क्या सबूत था? ये कागज है।
हाँ, यही कागज है।
कौन मेरा बड़ा भाई है?
Or this man, whose family are migrants from Tripura.
ये भी हमारा छोटा भाई दिया तो उसका आ गया है, लेकिन हमारा आया ही नहीं. Now this is a citizenship card of 1956. It is issued from Tripura, right? Tripura থেকে issue করা.
And finally, to the claim by the government that the bill will pass the legal test and the constitutional test, did the government in fact ignore advice given to the House panel which was warned that the bill may in fact fail the legal test? A constitutional expert deposed before the House panel said that mentioning Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, Parsis and Christians is violative of the Constitution. Article 14 is clear that anyone on the soil of India cannot be discriminated on grounds of religion. If we don't change this in the bill, the expert says, it may be thrown out by the Supreme Court within minutes. The government response to this is that the legislature is entitled to make reasonable classification for purposes of legislation. All right, joining us tonight on the show, we have with us Shoaib Danyal, assistant editor, scroll.in, the author of that piece I referred to at the outset, which has brought out much of this in great detail. Suhas Chakma, director, Rights and Risks Analysis Group. Mamta Kale, leader and spokesperson of the BJP. And last but not the least, Nilotpal Basu, senior leader of the CPM. Shoaib Danyal, I think one of the most important parts of your piece is, as I mentioned at the outset, it highlights the less reported aspect of the bill, not so much the fact that it may be unconstitutional or illegal, but the fact that it is, by the government's own admission, virtually unimplementable.
Yeah, I think the BJP has either intentionally or inadvertently not understood the way Hindu migration from Bangladesh takes place. So the IB, like you mentioned, is on record actually putting a very precise number on the number of people who will actually be able to immediately claim citizenship, which is 31,313 people, right? And the IB itself mentions that everyone else has actually got citizenship through informal means. They've come in, they've got their passports, they've got their ration cards. So this is something that the conversation around the CAB really does not mention. The second thing is, like you said, the IB again says that religious persecution will have to be proved, and the IB actually goes on record to say that anyone who tries to prove religious persecution without an affidavit, his case will be looked at by a foreigner tribunal. I've spoken to people, I've spoken to Bengali activists in Assam, and this is an alarming feature for them because, as you know, foreigner tribunals are absolutely infamous for being discriminatory on the ground. They have barely any legal ways in which they work. And the third thing that I want to really put out is, again, which is really damning, is again, like you said, the IB specifically says that you had to mention that you came into India, when you were coming into India, that you were coming into India because of religious persecution. Again, this does not happen in the case of Bangladeshi migration.
Okay. So here's the
it
problem.
just
then.
seems
you have
like none of this will work on the ground.
Right. So you have these serious challenges, the complexities, the devil in the detail of how it will work on the ground. None of this appears to have been thought through. And yet you're ramming ahead with this bill which is likely to only foster social divisions.
Well, not only social division, I don't think BJP government understands the basic framework of the constitution. And it will not stand. I mean, the day if this bill is not declared unconstitutional, that day it will be that of the constitution. And I tell you why.
Okay, but I'll come to the constitutionality in a second.
Okay.
But I'm talking here about the practicality because, again, and this is something I think you pointed out as well, if you look at the Northeast and you look at this idea that people, Hindus in the Northeast will be protected by this bill, the fact is that so much of the migration in the Northeast are not. How do you prove you are persecuted religious minorities from Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh?
Himanta Biswa Sarma said yesterday that there are only 5,40,000 people out of 19 lakhs people who are Hindu migrants. And we had found out that hundreds of thousands of scheduled tribes of Assam, about 25,000 Bhojpuris and more than 1 lakh Nepalis who have been excluded from the NRC process because
they are part of the 19 lakh excluded.
Yeah, 19 lakhs.
Right.
And they have no documents to prove whatsoever. Now, how could a Bhojpuri or a Nepali or a scheduled tribe could claim that they come from Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan? They do not exist. So that's one point. The second point, the Chakmas came in 1965. And we have got citizenship through the Supreme Court judgment in 1996. There is a government of the BJP at the center, and there is a government at Arunachal Pradesh. And when I raised this issue with the BJP, they told me clearly, Suhas, if we take the case of the Chakmas in Arunachal Pradesh, the government will collapse. So what do? You try to bring an exemption basically to allow the persecution on the Chakmas. So if you go from one state to another, when people had migrated, say for example, if a family had sold up the land, what documents you have? It has changed so many hands when you have no documents.
So I think, but the bigger picture point you're making is that how do these communities, these Hindu communities like you mentioned, Bhojpuris, Nepalis and so on.
And the scheduled tribes.
And the scheduled tribes. How will they prove their persecuted minorities to be able to benefit from this bill? Nilpal Basu, is this something where political parties like yourself, the opposition, which is, if I understand it correctly, you are opposing the bill. The CPM's position is clear, you're opposing the bill. But I'm not sure if you focused enough on this aspect of it, that this is a bill which at the practical level raises serious doubts.
You see, I mean, since the basic issue you are for the time being postponing, I don't know whether we will discuss now.
No, we will absolutely. All issues are on the table.
Because the bill itself is so outrageous. I mean, see, it's not just the question of constitutionality. it is ironical that citizenship, which if you go through the volumes of proceedings of Constituent Assembly, that citizenship was seen as the bridge for the diverse people that we constitute in India, as the common denomination to build up the country, and that was linked to the question of our freedom struggle.
Right.
Now, that is being reversed, but I keep it aside. I say that our experience and our really scanning of these people who have been left out of the 19 lakh people who have been left out of the NRC in Assam reveals that there is only one common factor. What Subhash was pointing out, that they are poor people.
Absolutely.
And they don't have documents. You see,
So how will they prove?
I mean, to you consider even a document as the proof of citizenship is the biggest irony in a country where rural poverty is now
you
going
have
up
to prove-
under this
okay,
dispensation.
Let Mamta Kale come in. And now Mamta Kale, not only that, not only have you had to go through the whole grind of NRC to prove that you are a citizen or not, now you have to further provide proof that you fled religious persecution, right? Which is the key defining matrix of this bill. That's how you actually get access to citizenship. How will you do that? Because as the IB itself is saying that these people entered India decades ago, it's not possible to verify their claim now.
First of all, Vasu, we all know that NRC and citizenship bill are two different things. They are two different issues. NRC
The
deals with
BJP is
intruders.
actively linking them,
No,
by the way.
no. NRC, it is, BJP is not. NRC is about intruders, and as far as this bill is concerned, it is about refugees. What does this bill seek? It seeks to give citizenship or nationalities to these 6 minorities from Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh,
Yes.
who were forced to take asylum in India.
For a minute, hold on.
Now, let me complete. Now,
No, I'm not on
want
that
to-
point. I am
No,
on the point of how it will actually work, because they will have to prove that they're victims of religious persecution, yes, as per the bill. But the government's own agencies are saying that they will have to provide documents, affidavits, to back that claim. If they don't, then they remain illegal. Then they go to a foreigners tribunal.
I am sure that, you know, you and I cannot sit and discuss this and find a way. But government surely will. Government surely will. It is their responsibility and they
How?
will do. Number one. Number two.
Government, Mamta, government
let
itself
me-
is saying that we
Let
can't.
me talk about the hypocrisy of all those parties who are today opposing this bill. You know,
No,
I
I'm
will
not-
tell you. No.
I'm not on
No,
that.
I want to speak and I want to bring
But
this
we have
topic.
to
I want
focus on the subject
no,
at
of course
hand.
not, because this is linked. What I'm going to talk about is linked to this.
Okay, but I mean, that's not what we're
The
debating.
General Secretary of CPIM, Prakash Karaj ji, had requested the then Prime Minister of UPA government, Mananiya Manmohan Singh ji,
Yes.
to amend the citizenship bill. And he, in fact, reminded him of his, his speech
Okay,
which he had delivered on the
you're
floor of
running
the
away with
House of Rajya Sabha
You're making
as
this-
a member, as a
you're
leader
making
of
this into a-
opposition.
you're making this into a general political debate.
No.
Sorry,
Let me.
that
Let
is
me.
not the-
that's not the debate here.
That is not the issue.
Let me
Mamta,
read that out.
you're
Let me
deflecting.
read that out.
You're
Let me-
deflecting.
Nahin,
You're
why-
deflecting.
Why are you not letting me speak the fact, Vasu?
Because you're not on the point of the
Allah,
debate.
It is.
completely
No,
Everyone
no.
has his point. No, allow
No,
me.
let me
allow
ask you the question. Let me
allow
ask you
to
the
finish
question.
this.
No, let me ask you the
Vasu,
question.
You will have to let me finish this. No, you will have
You
to
will have
allow
to
me
li-
my
no, but
time.
you have to allow me to ask the question.
No, let me read this out. What Manmohan
But this
Singh
is
ji
not
had
the
said
debate. Yeah.
with regards to the treatment of refugees after
Okay.
the partition of our country, the
Okay, say your piece,
minorities
because otherwise we can't
in
move on.
countries like Bangladesh
Right.
have faced persecution, and it is our moral duty
Right.
that if circumstances forces people,
Okay.
these unfortunate people, to seek refuge in our
Okay. Are
country,
you
the
done?
approach
Are we done?
to granting citizen to
Are we
these
done?
unfortunate person
Are we
should
done?
be more liberal.
Okay, are we done
should
now?
be
Can-
more
can
liberal.
others
when
come in?
you talk about it, you become
Okay.
secular. When Bharatiya Janata
Okay,
Party,
okay.
Mananiya
Can we come
Narendra
in now?
Modi ji,
Can others
Mananiya
come in?
Amit Shah ji talks about it,
Can I
they
just-
become non-secular.
Okay, Mamta,
I mean,
can
how
anyone else come
hypocritic
in?
that can be.
Okay, can anyone
None
else
of us
come in?
talk about these things, and if I am talking about
We'll have
these
to
facts,
silence
I
mics.
am
I don't
being
want to do that.
heckled. No, this is not done.
Okay,
So
can
this
we
is
can
a
we
bill
can we
which
stop? Can we
everyone has been
can
speaking
others
about.
come in?
Today, just because BJP is bringing this bill, everyone
This
has
is a
to
monologue.
speak against it. No, that's not
Can
done.
others come in?
Can I
Can others
just
come in?
explain this?
Can others come in? Okay,
Please,
thank you.
but-
Okay.
My
I
only
should also
question.
be given my
My
time.
only question is, why this bill will not stand. Because there are about 1 lakh Tibetan refugees, over 4 lakhs Tamil refugees from Sri Lanka for the last 36 years,
Yes.
and about 35,000 refugees who are recognized by the UNHCR, UN High Commissioner for Refugees,
Yes.
with the permission of the government of India.
Yes.
Now, if one of these people say, what crimes have I committed because I am equal to other non-nationals, so you are violating the Article 14 of the Constitution.
Sure.
It's as simple as that. So it cannot stand judicial scrutiny, not because of that, because there are other groups of people
Right.
who are facing religious persecution, and you are excluding them.
In fact, Shoaib, again, in the coming back to the proceedings of the joint committee, there was a deposition in that committee by, I believe it was again constitutional or legal experts who said that make it generally religious persecution. Don't make it specific to any one community. But I think the government responded by saying that would broaden the definition and defeat the purpose of the bill.
So, that's the thing that what the BJP and more specifically Ms. Kale was raising on the show is there is a BJP claim that this is the first time that there has been any move to settle people from Bangladesh, Hindus from Bangladesh in India, which we know is completely untrue. It has been happening since 1947. Crores of people have been settled. This is actually a step back because the processes that it places, for example, what you raised right now, it places a huge constitutional and legal roadblock for people now to settle from Bangladesh if they want to in West Bengal or Assam. Right? This is something that, we aren't reinventing the wheel. This has been happening. There have been refugee laws. Right till 1971, there was a refugee law by which somebody could come from Bangladesh and claim refugee status.
Right.
Rather than playing it with a straight bat, keeping it simple and settling people who have been persecuted from Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, the BJP has tried to marry this to their domestic agenda so that they could flog it in the elections. That's the only way I could say it. There are much simpler, easier ways to do it, which has been done.
I disagree with it.
Okay, but Mamta,
it's not like people from Bangladesh, crores of people from Bangladesh have come to West Bengal.
The thing is, we are talking about six minorities to be given the citizenship.
Mamta, answer the question.
In these six Islamic countries, the Muslims are not minorities. So what are we talking about?
No, but once again, Mamta,
are they being persecuted in the name of religion in Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh?
But Mamta, you don't answer the question. The question was
Ms. Kale, but crores of people have already come to West Bengal from Bangladesh before.
Okay,
this,
but
right?
Mamta, the question
No,
was.
I never claimed that. I think
Okay,
you
once again. Sorry.
You did not hear me only.
No, sorry, we can't have side discussions.
I did not claim that.
Okay,
I
Mamta,
also know that
Okay,
the
Mamta, hold on.
refugees of 71
Fine.
war were given the citizenship.
Okay, Mamta,
I'm aware of that fact.
Mamta, the point is that as we've just said, that how does this, in a sense, protect those who've been excluded by the NRC in Assam? Because as we've just pointed out, many of them are not victims of religious persecution. They are people who migrated internally from India or they're from Nepal.
Look.
So how will you protect? Yes. No, let her answer.
No, but that is what the government is going to find a mechanism.
What
Government
mechanism?
will do what is required to be
look at the
to
law
be done.
itself.
First of
Sorry,
all.
law says you
And-
have to come
and-
from these
But
countries.
how?
How will the
They're not
Bhojpuri
victims.
prove
If they're
he
not
comes from-
victims of
they-
religious persecution,
we are not
then how
talking
will they get
about it.
protected?
We are talking about the refugees of those of these three countries, the six minorities. We are talking about those.
Fair
So
enough.
why are we confusing
Your
the
leaders
whole
are
thing?
not.
Why are we doing
No, no,
that?
no, no.
Your
And
leaders
why
in
we
Assam are
linking-
saying
and
all those
Vasu, why are
Hindus
we
left out in the
linking
NRC will be protected.
and citizenship bill together?
Because your own
BJP
leaders are doing that
saying it.
anyway.
You are
No,
saying
BJP
it.
is not.
No, you are
Citizenship
saying
bill
it.
talks about
You are
refugees
saying that this will
and
take care of the
NRC talks
NRC in
about
Assam.
intruders. And
No,
as
I
far
mean,
as
if you want to deny your own
as far as-
statements, you
नहीं,
can't
Vasu,
help it.
as far as BJP is
Okay.
concerned, Amit Shah ji had made it very clear.
Okay, let Nilotpal Das
घुसपैठिए
speak.
इस देश में नहीं रहेंगे और रिफ्यूजियों को इस देश में पूरा सम्मान दिया जाएगा, नागरिकता दी जाएगी।
Okay.
ये बोला
Nilotpal
है,
Das.
ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी का
Okay.
स्टैंड है, जो आप बोल रहे हैं वो गलत है।
Nilotpal Das, yes.
I really cannot outshout her. Therefore, she
Nobody
will have
can.
to be a little liberal with me.
Please sir, go ahead. Take your time.
My first point is, you see, I am a refugee. We come from a family which is now in Bangladesh. Therefore, I think the biggest problem is, as Subhas was rightly pointing out, migration in entire this northeast and Bengal and all these places. Why and how, what was the historical factors, what were the economic factors is not being understood, first of all. Secondly, what she is saying, you see, government will have a mechanism. Now, whatever mechanism, that will have to be within the four corners of a law.
Yes.
I mean, a government cannot act illegally.
Yes.
But insofar as we are concerned, and yesterday we re-released Muhammad Salim's note of dissent to this report.
Yes.
Yes, there are many things in this report, but there could be many more things
Yes.
which were sort of
Redacted.
outshouted and outmaneuvered and so on and so forth. The basic point is, you see, whatever she may say, fact is it is the BJP which has linked NRC with Citizenship
Yes,
Amendment
repeatedly,
Bill.
yes.
Because they were unnerved after so many Hindus were actually out of the
Ambit of the
NRC.
Yeah.
So they told that we will, VHP. If,
No, they did
if you have records,
they
in
did a
your-
full U-turn.
there, I have seen videos.
Yeah.
Vishwa Hindu Parishad in Silchar's town.
Yeah.
They are shouting slogans against BJP. So they were unnerved. So then they said that we will bring in the CAB.
Yes.
Whereas the provision of the bill and this particular, we have not got the new bill,
Yes, no,
which has
nobody
not yet
has,
been circulated.
there's some versions going around, but no one has seen
clause
the
6,
final
if you-
version.
Clause 6, if you see that even after proving all that, if they can come in, they will have to wait for 6 years. So it is not going to be automatic.
And you know,
Right.
So
respectively-
therefore, you see,
It is-
that
there are-
is the
that-
most,
that's the whole point.
obnoxious part of this bill.
That's the whole point, that it is the
anti-poor
implementation.
and totally this will shred into tears the already delicate ethnic and
Okay,
cultural
Shoaib, yes, yes,
ambience that
Yeah,
is
you know, I
there
just
in
want
the
to
Okay,
raise
we have
the
only
NRC
time for
thing
closing
again.
comments, starting with Shoaib. Yes, sure.
Quick, so I just want to raise a quick NRC comment again. Srinivasan, you raised the fact that, you know, anybody who's internally migrated will not get relief and succor from the CAB. Now, the thing is, there's a catch-22. The NRC, basically, when anybody applied to the NRC, they declared they were Indian, right? They declared we've always lived here.
Yes.
Now, the CAB actually wants people to declare that they are Bangladeshi, right? So they've got to actually go back on the written submissions that they gave to the government of Assam, to the NRC
That's a good
authority,
point.
and to sort of
I hadn't
go
thought of
back
that.
on them. So this is just a small illustration of how bizarre the implementation of the CAB is. Nobody's thought this through, but yet the BJP is going around saying, oh, you know, all the Bengali Hindus in the NRC
in
that
that
have
sense-
been excluded from the NRC, they'll be
Right.
saved
In
by
that
the
sense,
CAB.
Mamta,
How?
in that sense, Mamta, is this going to be a problem? Because you can sort of proclaim from the rooftops the intent behind this, that you want to protect these minorities, rightly or wrongly. But just look at the absolute difficulty and the complexity of implementing it. And I come back to this. This is not me or anyone on the panel saying it. These are responsible government agencies repeatedly saying that the very small number will benefit, and that it will be very difficult for people who entered years ago to prove they were victims of religious persecution. So are you, in a sense, selling people a false hope
No,
for
not-
political gain?
No, first of all, I don't know why are you saying for political gain. It is about giving them the rights, to all those refugees who
But it's
have
very,
been living
but very
on
difficult.
Indian soil.
But it's extremely complex,
No,
extremely
that's
difficult
what-
by the government's own
that's-
admission.
That's what you feel, and as I said
I don't
earlier
feel it.
also was. I
Intelligence
agree.
Bureau,
I
Intelligence
agree.
Bureau.
But as far as mechanism is concerned, let government work it out. And I just want to say that if we are talking about internal shifting of people, there are a lot of communities who have migrated from one place to another in our country. This has been happening for decades together.
Yes.
You know, this is what is happening. So this
Yeah.
is not an issue. Unnecessarily, we are trying to digress from the topic, trying to club this
We're not.
internal migration, NRC, and this citizenship bill
with all
together.
respect, your
Okay.
party is.
Modi-
Okay, last comments, last
One-
comments.
Amit Shah ji was
just
very
one
clear.
line.
Intruders
Okay.
will not
Okay,
stay
you said
here,
that, you said
and
that. Closing
refugees
comments.
will
Yeah,
be
we have
given
one.
Okay,
full
closing comments.
rights, and they will
Okay,
be the
okay, Mamta,
citizen of
close.
India.
On
We
9th,
will protect them.
on 9th October, the Ministry of Home Affairs issued a direction saying that those who do not submit their applications to the Foreigners Tribunal, DM must initiate his own proceedings. So anybody who has been excluded from the NRC will have to face the Foreigners Tribunal. What will happen in this? I am a victim as a Chakma, so I am telling her, it's not somebody who is talking mechanically. Chakmas came in 65,
Yes.
we have no documents to prove. In this case, what will happen? None of the Hindus
Yes.
who have no documents,
Yes.
when they go and apply in Assam, if the officer is Assamese, he will not give it, just the way
Okay.
the Chakmas have not been getting it.
Okay,
And
last-
that's the reality.
Okay, literally 10 seconds. Yeah.
Absolutely. You see, one has to understand this foreigners tribunal. Linked with it is the question of detention camp. I mean, there's no way you can prove. And the foreigners tribunal, it's a nightmare. Now they are increasing the number of foreigner tribunals so much so that there are no judicial training of those people who are manning.
Yeah, that's a
And
separate
it's a-
administrative maze.
and it's
But
a-
it does speak to a wider point about how complex and difficult this entire process is going to be to
And
implement.
basically, fundamentally, it is against the Indian constitution.
Okay,
No,
all right,
it's not.
we're out of time.
Constitution
That is a
gives
debate.
certain rights.
That is a debate. I
Every
promise you,
citizen of
we will
India,
have that
be it
debate
Hindu,
also.
Muslim,
Mamta, I
Sikh,
promise
Tribe,
you,
Basu.
we will have that debate.
Yeah,
All of you
sure,
on the
sure,
panel, we will have that
100%.
debate.
I am in for
It
that.
is RSS idea which is being put
Okay,
into
okay,
practice.
okay, okay. We'll have to
How
leave it.
wrong is that?
We'll
Why
have
are
to
we
leave it
building
there.
a
We'll have to leave it there.
false
We're out of time.
narrative?
Thank you so much for joining us on Reality Check. Thanks for watching. Good night.